Building a metro is not just about increasing the quality of life for residents. It's also about improving the economic condition and economic output of a locality, with the added benefit that you reduce traffic. Today we're going to take a look at a metro project that just can't seem to end. Unlike Athens and Budapest, Sofia and Bucharest, the capital city of Serbia, Belgrade, has run into many different obstacles when it comes to building a proper metro network. Despite what you may believe, it's not simply a matter of finances. So that begs the question, what happened to the Belgrade metro system? Why has it taken 70 years? My name is Imre, and you're watching Uniquely Unseen, a channel that primarily focuses on urban planning, accessibility, and public transportation. If you enjoyed today's content, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a like on the video to help the algorithm. Following the re-establishment of Yugoslavia under the socialist leadership of Josip Broz Tito, there were several questions to be raised about how the new capital city would be constructed and reconstructed. At one point, it was estimated that over 11,000 housing units, approximately 50% of the city's total housing stock, was lost to the conflict. Initially, we see buildings like the Trade Union Hall go up, which suggests a more elegant or less brutalist style of architecture. Over time, however, with the influx of people from the countryside and the general desire among leadership to build Belgrade not just into a cultural and political center, but an industrial behemoth, we see brutalist and modernist styles of architecture take over. During this same period, while a metro was envisioned in theoretical terms, many cities across Yugoslavia, but especially Belgrade as the capital, had to deal with the realities and practicalities of public transportation. Do you wait a decade to have one line of a metro, or do you take steps to build a tram network off of the backs of rail that once existed in the central city and what you can build off of that? It was decided that it would be cheaper and more effective to go the route of a tram, and many cities across Yugoslavia like Zagreb and Sarajevo took that same initiative. There's also an element of, if Belgrade does something as the capital city, every other regional capital would want to do the same, and this may become a running theme later on. By the end of the decade, Novi Beograd, or New Belgrade, would come into existence, meaning that the transit concerns of the city were more pressing. A metro might actually need to take shape. The 1960s would see several traffic studies conducted to see where exactly a metro could take shape in the city. Ultimately, a proposal for 3 lines at 33 kilometers in length at 35 stations was proposed. The 70s would see further positive developments. In 72, Belgrade's chief urban planner would go to Munich in order to study their U-Bahn system and how it interacted with the wider rail network, ferrying hundreds of thousands of passengers in time for the 1972 Summer Olympics. 4 years later, a proposal would be released to the public. Now, we all know that socialist governments, when it comes to such proposals of public transportation and monumental achievements, they're very modest. 9 lines, 74 kilometers of track, and over 80 stations were envisioned. Construction of this metro system was meant to be a generational undertaking, with the first 14 kilometers being proposed to be built over the next 8 to 9 years, following the completion of the Vatar and Dedinje railway junctions, which enabled tunneling to be done under most of Belgrade. The full project was scheduled to be completed by 2021, with all 9 lines in operation. What could possibly go wrong? By the mid-1980s, several factors impacting Yugoslavia as a whole, like foreign debt repayments, economic stagnation, and the passing of its founding father in Marshal Tito, would impact the metro project. Indeed, in the early 1980s, there was a thought in Belgrade that maybe the Soviet Union could come to the rescue. One proposal floated, very quirky idea here, was to have the Soviet Union send their engineers, their expertise, to build the Belgrade metro system over the course of 40 years, and in exchange, the Yugoslav government as a whole would write off all the foreign debts owed to them by the USSR. Now you may be asking, can a city government do this? Not really. This is a national question. By 1983, at a meeting of the national delegates for each republic, it was decided that no, the Soviet Union would not have all of their debts canceled because that money is important, and a new scheme was devised. The Belgrade city government would tax itself and try to raise funds to build the metro project. Over the course of about 2 years, from 1983 to 84, $200 million was raised to build the metro system just for that first phase. While this is no small war chest, the money was soon allocated to a different fund to go towards a tram system. The generational metro project as a whole was seen as something too expensive to undertake. The 1990s saw a series of changes to Yugoslavia, most notably of which, in April of 1992, the country would cease to exist. A series of inter-ethnic conflicts would then ensue for the next several years, and as far as this relates to the metro, many things were just not done. The only notable progress I can find is that 2 subway stations, which were initially part of one route, were opened as suburban rail connections. Realistically, by 1997, the program had been shut off and turned on and shut off and turned on, as if it was some kind of political football to be kicked around. As we enter the new millennium, there is peace between Serbia and her neighbors. There's a new mayor in charge of Belgrade, and there's a new plan for the metro underway. Known as the Belem, it was unveiled in July of 2004, featuring, rather than 9 lines, 2. Construction was scheduled to begin in 2008, with the metro lines opening in 2012. But if you look at a calendar, we're a little bit beyond that point. So what happened? While a French contractor was selected to build the metro system, there were concerns over finances, such as the first line of the metro being estimated to cost 450 million euros conservatively. This was not a small amount of money, and there were concerns over recouping costs, so no meaningful construction has taken place. In 2018, the plan was slightly revised. This time, it would connect to the regional transit system, known as BG Voz. Sorry, I don't speak Serbian. As of recording this video in March 2024, Power China, along with the French government and a consortium of French companies, have agreed to fund, build, and operate the metro system in coordination with the local Serbian Transit Authority. Is this at all related to China's Belt and Road Initiative and the Serbian-Hungarian Railway? I don't know, probably not. But it does seem like this metro system is a high priority for the Serbian government. And whether or not the generational plan from the 70s can ever get back, whether a full traditional mass transit system can be built in Belgrade, I think as long as this can serve the population, it's a good thing. Now, of course, I'm not living in Belgrade. I don't know where these stations are purported to be. So let me know in the comments. Would this system serve Belgrade? I'd love to know your thoughts if you do live in Serbia. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video.